it's actually better that we're having this at this time because here in South Africa, people are at bed. So I think the internet is a bit more stable. I've been worried about that. But before this, I went through your old blog posts from 2016. I
Oh
read your
my
journey
gosh.
story, and I went over your takeover because I remember you took over my account for your marathon. So the basis of this interview is going to be that and what's happened. It's 4 years later, right? Not, it's 4 years later, right? 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, it's 4 years later.
Yeah,
So I'm sure a lot has happened.
a
So
lot
to
has
start,
happened.
yeah. So to start, my audience has grown. People have followed, unfollowed. So please introduce yourself to everybody.
Hi, everyone. My name is Eligia. Um, I'm a woman from Mexico, but I live in United States. And I have been a runner since
Oh,
I was 15 years old, and now I'm 40. So it's been a long running lifestyle, I will say. Um, and I have been part of this community with that indie runner for a few years now, and I really enjoy the positive support that we always get. I'm always going like, where do you get this person from? I want to follow this person, or I want to do what this person's doing. So it's nice to be part of a group that inspires you to be a better person, and always showing like support and in all types of forms, shapes, and colors, which is something that I truly love because I feel like I belong in this community that you have created. So thank you for that.
and which was the goal when I started this page because so I wanted to start a blog because when I started running, I was I think 19 or 20, and I was always the youngest within the people that I run with, and I was like, I want to share this with people of my age group because they thought I was crazy for running. And yeah, I wrote about 2 blog posts, and I was like, my running is not interesting. I'm not winning any races. So let's open this up to everybody. So I literally went on Instagram and I started asking people, hey, I'd like to feature on the blog. Would you be interested? And people like you said, yeah, 4 or 5 years of that. So it's been quite a journey. It's been fun. It's been fun. That's one thing I can say. Um, so I was saying your name wrong. In my head, I kept saying Eligia. So that was actually going to be the first thing I was
And
going to
that's
ask you.
fine.
How do I pronounce your name and surname? Because I'm very
That's
big
totally
on
fine.
getting.
People,
Is that fine?
that's fine. People call me by the wrong name all the time.
That's me. I always get asked, how do you pronounce your name? How do you pronounce your name? Oh, and then another thing, I'm always asked, is there a shorter version? And I just give them my full name instead. Because my name is really not hard. It's literally Atlechan. It's 3 syllables.
Oh, okay.
But my surname is even longer, but we won't get into that.
Okay.
So, from your earlier blog post in 2016, I was reading a line and you said your brother ran his first marathon at 14. I thought that
Yes.
was pretty amazing because I was not thinking about running marathons at 14. What inspired that? Do you still remember? Is he still running?
He no longer runs that much distance, but he has always been very active. So if I take him to run a marathon, he'll still beat me. He's when he was that young, there is a program here in the United States, well, in California, called Students Run LA. So
Mm-hmm.
it's part of the one of the programs in schools. So he joined the program in school, and then they trained the kids. We still have the program after all these years. So they train kids from I think when they are in the 7th grade in school, they start training them to run. So my brother was the first one to ever run. I was a basketball player. I was not a runner.
Nice.
But I saw my brother finish the first marathon, and it broke my heart to see him finish. Like, he was so broken, but his spirit was so strong, just knowing he had finished a marathon, that I'm like, I want to feel that kind of pain that makes me smile. So I forgot about basketball. And I started running in school, and that's how I got into running. He's my inspiration, and sometimes he comes over the house and we work out together. I work out with his kids all the time. His kids are the ones that I'm always hiking with, because he doesn't
Oh,
go
that's nice.
outdoors anymore. So I do it with the kids. Yeah.
Okay. So I also read from your cross country days. They weren't the most pleasant, but you gained self confidence from that. So how exactly did you gain self confidence? Was it from the accomplishments of finishing the races, or pushing your body to the limit?
Um, I'm glad you asked this question, because this is a topic I really like to talk about. Um, when I was in cross country, at that time I was 15, 16, 17 years old. As a teenager, there are a lot of things that affect you, and at that time I was bullied a lot. I was called a lot of names. um, I
I
was
read one of them was monster.
The monster was one of those names. I was called negra, which means black. Um,
Really?
yeah, so I was called a lot of names. So um, I had the luxury of having my brother in the same team. My mom was always present. So whenever anyone attacked me in that way, I always found strength on them, because they were always by my side. So I became a strong person inside. And as time progressed, I learned to not allow people break me emotionally. And that confidence came from there, from knowing that I was not the monster that people thought I was. Maybe physically I wasn't very attractive. But I learned to love myself for who I was, with my flaws, because yes, I wasn't the most pretty girl in the school, but I had other virtues to be proud of. I was very smart. I was very committed to my running, and so I took all those negative things and I turned them around, and that's what helped me be a stronger athlete. Because whenever I felt like someone didn't want me for who I was, instead of hating them, I'll be like, okay, I'm just gonna show how good of a person I am, so that they want to be
Mm,
my friend. So I try my best to always turn things around, versus just projecting hate, because it wasn't gonna be the way to show that I was a good person. But
mm,
when you're a teenager, those things always affect you. So I did go home a few times to cry on my pillow, but I always find a way to bounce back from the dark places, and then
mm,
just focus on me. So I learned that from a very young age, to just focus on my running, focus on my school, focus on whatever I could do to just be a better person. um, so up until now, I have had difficulty explaining people how I am. So what I do is I just show the way I am, and then I hope that people give me the opportunity to show that I'm not, you know, a mean or bad person. I'm just maybe different, but being different, it's okay. It's one of the beautiful things about every individual. Being different is it's you. It represents you. So I'm okay now when people don't feel comfortable with me. I understand, and I do my best to, keep distance versus attacking. It's not what I'm looking for. I try to always be, if I can be a positive or supportive person, I do it. And if I'm not taken that way, then I keep my distance. But yeah, confidence came from knowing that I was a much better person than what I was told I was.
Oh, that's very important. You mentioned something key in your statement when you said about that's the individual. Because when I chose the name for this platform, when I said that indie runner, at the time I was listening to indie music, and where that genre comes from is from independent artists who were not signed to records, so they'd release the music from them. So when I chose this platform, I said, I like indie music and I like running, so I'm gonna say indie runner. But when I went onto Instagram and I was searching for the name for the username indie runner, it was already taken. So I was like, I need to change it. It's gonna be that indie runner. And all of the runners that I've featured, I like that they were individuals. I've had people from Japan, I've had people from South Africa, and I've had people from the USA. And I don't when I'm asking people to feature them on the blog, I don't necessarily go for a certain look. I just want that story from that runner, the everyday story from that runner. And I specifically choose people who won't necessarily win races, because I think people who run at the back at races have the most amazing stories to tell. And that's been the aim of this platform, to tell stories from one runner to another. Because even though we might be in different locations in the world, I think running stories from each other are so interesting.
Yeah, and I can testify to that. I ran in my young age. I was running for college, so I was a good athlete back in the day, and I was always a front runner. Um, but then as time progressed, I gained weight and I started getting to the back of the race. And I can tell you, the most wonderful years of my running life has been since I started taking running as a way to feel good in the back of the race versus being in the front of the race. I mean, it's good to always, to have the recognition of being in the top athletes, but like you say, there are no stories there. The
No,
real stories
no.
happen in the back when you get to meet so many people with amazing overcoming life changes, and they can inspire you. I mean, the
Mm,
last takeover that I did with you, it was at the San Francisco Marathon.
mm,
I found this lady who she came from, I don't remember what country. She was from another country, and she lost her friend. She couldn't keep up with her friend, and she was just like very overwhelmed that she was like 30. I think we still had like 13 miles to go, and I started running with her just to make her feel more comfortable. And she started crying and she was like, I don't know why I'm not running fast. But then she started talking about her, that all the things she was going through. And I'm like, this is why you're not running fast. But once you get over this, you're going to feel so much better. You're going to get back to it. We ended up running the rest of the race together. And she's like,
you
my
guys,
best friend would, yeah, she's like, my best friend would never have done that. You waited for me. And I'm like, I enjoy your company. We had 13 miles of an amazing conversation. I would have never done that had I been on the front of the race.
true,
So honestly, the real stories, the people that will inspire you, they're working so hard in the back of the
true,
race.
true.
You sometimes want to experience a race with someone like that.
And do you guys still keep contact?
Yes.
Oh,
So we're
that's so
still
amazing.
friends. Yeah, we're still friends. She doesn't have social media, but we do keep in touch. She's an amazing. She's an amazing lady. She overcame cancer. So
Oh, wow.
once that became an issue in my family, she was great support towards me. And I mean, you never know who you're gonna meet in those races.
That's true. And also on social media, because there's a lady when I started this blog that lives in Brazil. We used to talk, and she was quite a big fan of the platform. And then this year, I noticed that we haven't spoken in quite a while. But luckily, I was still, I followed her daughter because her daughter's an artist. And I asked her, is your mom still okay? We haven't spoken in quite a while. And she said, no, my mom deleted Instagram, but she's on Facebook. And she actually gave me her Facebook profile. And I invited her, and we still communicate. And I was like, it's amazing how you meet people on Instagram and these social media platforms where you guys just relate on running, and that becomes your connection, and that becomes your bond.
Yeah. I mean, I have that experience with my son. Um, my son has been the core of all my inspiration. And since very young, I started taking him to the trails. He has done many of the races that I've done, and honestly, he has done them only because because I'm there doing them. So he's my biggest supporter, and our bond is very special. And I can he's my only child, so a lot of people think I am gonna feel sad when he leaves, but I have experienced so much with my son. We have had so many experiences that I feel that when he leaves the house, I am gonna be fine because I already enjoy so much of him. um, there have been times where things were very scary. Like one time we hiked 10 miles when he was very young and we ran out of water. That was very scary. We have gotten lost in the mountains hiking. I mean, we have experienced so much, but all that has created such a strong bond for us that has so many memories of us being together. So when he's ready to leave the nest, I think I'm gonna be fine, and I am gonna be so happy to watch him start his own journey. But it is true, like when you have an activity that you do with a loved one, the bond that it's created, it's amazing.